Everything changes the moment you stop checking, not doubting, not disbelief, not lack of technique. Checking, that quiet, compulsive habit of scanning the outer world for movement, looking for proof, monitoring reality like a detective waiting for a confession. And every single time you check, you affirm one thing with absolute certainty: it is not yet done. Most people don't understand this, but you are not most people. When you order something and pay for it in full, you do not call the store every hour asking if it is shipped. You trust the transaction. The exchange is complete. Your part is finished. You walk away. That is faith in action, not hope, not optimism. Certainty so quiet it doesn't need to speak. But when you imagine the end of something, when you feel it real in your chest, and then immediately turn to the three-dimensional world for confirmation, you undo the work. You reveal uncertainty. And uncertainty is not the opposite of faith. It is faith divided, split attention, a foot in two worlds. And the world you truly inhabit is the one you give your focus to. You must assume the wish fulfilled. That is not a motivational phrase. It is a mechanical instruction. You must imagine the outcome, feel its weight, its texture, its naturalness, and then persist in that assumption. But persisting does not mean watching. It does not mean waiting. It does not mean analyzing every reflection for a sign that something shifted. Persisting means remaining inwardly loyal. It means holding the frequency of completion while the outer world catches up at its own pace. When you check, you shift from creator to observer. You place power outside yourself. You ask reality to validate your imagination. But imagination does not require validation. It requires acceptance. Full, irreversible, no turning back acceptance. Every time you ask, "Has it happened yet?" you quietly confess, "I do not believe it has." And the world, faithful to your confession, reflects waiting back to you. Not because the world is cruel, because the world is a mirror. And a mirror never argues. Now consider the feeling of something that is already yours. Not something you want, not something you hope arrives next week. Something that exists in your life right now, without question. Your breath, your name, the floor beneath your feet. You do not check on those things. You do not monitor them. You do not analyze whether they are still there. They simply exist. That is the state you must enter, not chasing, not wondering, not trying to manifest harder. Simply inhabiting the quiet certainty that what you have imagined is already done. When you have imagined the end and felt it real, your work is complete. From that moment forward, your only task is to refuse the temptation to look for evidence. Evidence follows assumption. It never precedes it. Not once. Not in the history of consciousness shaping matter has evidence ever arrived before the assumption was solidified. Most people grow frustrated because they imagine beautifully at night, in meditation, in moments of stillness, and then undo it all day long by watching the 3D world. Like a detective, they search for signs, they interpret delays, they analyze silence, they read meaning into what didn't happen yet. But silence is not absence. Delay is not denial. The bridge of incidents, the invisible chain of events that will deliver what you have assumed, is already unfolding in ways you cannot yet see. Your job is not to watch the bridge being built. Your job is to live on the other side of it as if you have already crossed. When you stop checking, something remarkable happens inside your nervous system. Your body relaxes, Your mind quiets. Your breathing deepens without effort. Your identity shifts. You move from the low-frequency state of "will it happen" to the high-frequency state of "it is already mine." And that subtle shift changes everything. Not because the world changes immediately, because you change. And when you change, the mirror has no choice but to reflect something different back to you. Checking feels responsible. It feels like staying on top of things. It feels like being awake and aware and proactive. But spiritually, it is interference. It is the equivalent of digging up a seed every morning to see if it has grown. You are not helping the seed. You are killing it. Let the soil work. Let the dark do what only the dark can do. Let the world move without your supervision. Let conversations happen without your control. Let pieces rearrange themselves while you remain still. If you have truly assumed the end, it must externalize. That is not philosophy. That is law. The mirror does not argue. It reflects. What you hold within, without contradiction, will appear without. Not because the universe is kind, because the universe is coherent. It cannot give you what you ask for while you are broadcasting doubt. It can only match your frequency. And checking is a frequency of lack. So here is the instruction. Not a suggestion, not a gentle recommendation. An instruction. Imagine the end. Feel it real, accept it as natural, and then stop looking for it. Go about your life, think new thoughts, move differently, speak differently. Not because you see proof, because you no longer require proof. The one who needs proof has not yet decided. The one who knows does not check. Everything changes when you stop checking. Because the moment you stop checking, you stop hoping. And the moment you stop hoping, you start knowing. And knowing is the state from which creation flows effortlessly. Not through force, not through repetition, not through desperate affirmation. Through silent, unshakable certainty. Be still. Not in passivity, in completion. It is done, not will be done, not might be done if you try hard enough. It is done. That is the assumption. That is the secret. And that is the only place real power lives. You are here for a reason. Now you know the reason. Stop checking. Start knowing. And watch the world catch up to what you have already become.